Hello and welcome to this episode of Cosmic Crow Tarot, where today we're going to be checking out a brand new deck. At the time of making this video, I'm not even sure if it's available for order yet, but I will put that link in the description below. If it's pre-order, just wait, it will come to you. This is Ogham, and it's the divining in the Celtic way. Now, I apologize if I spelled or pronounced that incorrectly, but you know me, I suck at pronunciations. Jane Matthews is the one that created this, and according to this, she's the director of the World Divination Association. Until I saw this deck, I didn't know that was a thing. And so now I have this new goal that I want to be a part of that one day, because I think that is absolutely incredible that such a thing exists. Okay, what the back says on here is Ogham is a Celtic divination system based on the earliest form of the Irish alphabet. Within the traditional Celtic belief system, each of us is the center of the universe. Ogham helps us understand our place in the universe, as well as what exists around and within us. Ogham is a multidimensional gateway that leads us to self-understanding, allowing us to flow easier, find peace, and restore balance. It empowers us to grow, adapt, and achieve success. Ogham can be used to gain insight into any situation and bring forth solutions, as well as to provoke thought and gain clarity on a profound level. And this package contains 25 cards and a 192-page guidebook. So this deck, there's all the information that you need in it. Because, look at the symbols. As modern people, we don't remember this Celtic Irish alphabet that originally existed. But these symbols here speak to us, especially if you're a fan of the runes. I think they're called the Outer Fourth Arc runes. If you're a fan of those, and these symbols kind of speak to you. Perhaps there's some part of your soul that this deck absolutely speaks to as well. Something that you might have forgotten in all those lifetimes that you've had. So as a person that loves just learning everything I can, divination-wise, all kinds of new things and stuff like that, I am so excited to start working with this deck. I need to use my handy dandy scissors. I get a little nut or a little hole going right here so we can actually get in and see what the cards look like, and maybe get into that guidebook too to give you an idea of what to expect. Now on the socials, when I was just scrolling through them today, I did notice that there is going to be a class on this, but that's one of those posts that you see and then you turn the Facebook or Instagram off and then you don't see it again. I can tell you that it's supposed to be March 22nd, but that is all I can tell you about it. But it is based on this deck, so if I can find more information about that, I will go back and put that in the description too, so that you can find it too, because you're like me, you like to study, you like to learn, and wow, already seeing this deck, feeling it and everything, it's very well made. It's oracle sized cards, I believe. And just look how thick that guidebook is. There's so much this deck is going to teach us, so much that we are going to learn. And this is how we learn, right? At least personally, this is how I learn. Reading. Reading is always something that I've that's how I've been able to learn my entire life. The backs of the cards are those symbols as well. You see, that must be the overall symbol. I have no idea what these cards mean, but this is why we learn. This is how we learn. We study. I'm not about to pronounce these things. I can't even say pronounce that well. Wow. But I'm not going to try to pronounce these because I don't want to one, make a fool of myself, and two, don't want to offend anybody, because there is a lot of power in the names, in the people's names, the names of symbols and stuff like this, and I can't do it justice just looking at it right now. So I'm going to show you the illustrations as we go. We're going to get into that guidebook, and perhaps the guidebook will tell us how to pronounce things, and that would be awesome as well. So here is the first illustration we have, followed by this one. Clearly looks like it says Luis, but again, I'm not going to try that. So there's that illustration, followed by this one. It kind of gives me I Ching vibes a little bit with the way that these lines are setting, and they're not curvy or anything. They're very straight. They're very pencilized. I don't know the right word here, but the lines, they make a whole lot of sense to me. They speak to something in my head, something that I might not have thought of in this lifetime ever before, but it's going to connect. This guidebook is going to help us learn this. So there is sail, that that kind of makes sense pronunciation wise. Here's this one, Nin, I believe. I can't help myself but to try to pronounce them, so I apologize if I'm making anybody offended or anything for that. You notice these are all that purple color. So as we go forward, they change. So perhaps that means the meanings of them change. We're getting more into perhaps darkness here with this darker color. Here is the next one, and we're all facing, like, there's so much here. It's kind of, I don't really know how to explain it. Like the way like we're turning left now. Whereas these were facing right, these are now facing left. And this first one, we only have one ring on or one line hanging from it. On this one, we have 2. On this one, we have 3. And they're all like pointing backwards. So I don't know if I'm reading these correctly or not. Again, guidebook. So useful. There's 4, but it's like they're looking backwards. They're, reflecting on the past. Whereas the ones that we began with are looking forward. So that's very, very interesting. It speaks a lot. And here is the final one there with 5 lines going. It kind of looks like a toothbrush a little bit. The next one is crossed, like just going down this way. So that's very interesting. We transitioned from the purple to the black to the blue. Purple and black, very much crow colors, I feel. But, the feathers of a crow are iridescent. So they're all kinds of color if the sun hits them right. Not just black. There is that illustration with the 1, followed by this one with the 2 lines going across. Gort. That seems easy enough, but I love that word. It's just like, it reminds me of fairies and ogres and trolls and things like that. And, Irish, Celtic, it's kind of the world of the fairies. And I love the energy of this deck already. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But look, now the 3 lines are pointed all this way, followed by the 4 lines pointed all the way this way. Yes, there is so much to learn from this deck, and this guidebook is going to help us so much with that. Look how I've seen things like this before. It's like a satellite or something like that in somebody's yard with all those crosses and everything on it. But yeah, we've got all those lines going again. And now we have the cross with the fork. And every single one of these illustrations is right here. This line pointing down, going down into the earth, I feel. So there is that one. Followed by the one that has 2 lines going across. On, it seems. Follows that with the 3 lines. Now I'm starting to get an idea of exactly what these illustrations, how they have each of the difference, but every one stands for that, those 2 lines, that groundedness there at the bottom, keeping it stable, keeping it upright. Here's Idad, IDAD. At least I know what letters are spelling it. But you've got the 5 lines right there. And now we're getting very, very, very complicated with this one right here that looks like a flag. And the next one after this one looks absolutely nothing like it because it's got a star on the top. So each of these, it's like the empowerment. We've made it through the story. We've made it through the alphabet. Because remember there at the beginning when I read the back of the box, it was the Irish alphabet, the original alphabet. Can you imagine learning all of this back then? How intelligent you would have felt, how wise you would have been because you took the time to study it. And we have that ability right here, right now to take this deck and study it and learn what it has to teach us. Each of these are just 2 letters there at the bottom. So that's very interesting because the other ones kind of obviously had more letters to it, but there is that symbol. And then the 25th card in this deck, interesting too that there's 25 cards. There's 26 letters in our alphabet, well, at least in the English alphabet. I assume the Irish alphabet today is very similar. I don't know 100% though, but there's 25 cards here. And then when it comes to the runes, I believe there's 24, isn't there? I can't remember off the top of my head. But still, 25 different symbols here to learn, to study, to understand. Now I'm going to flip them back over and have this beautiful card because, purple. Awesome. And we're going to see what the guidebook shares about this, okay? I'm going to read you a little bit in it. Let's see if I can find it. There's the preface. There is the table of contents, the edition right there, published in 2026 by Wiser Books, an imprint of Red Wheel Wiser LLC. You got the information there, the address and everything, and Jane Matthews' name right there, and telling us no parts of this publication may be reproduced or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic or the mechanical or technical. Yeah, so don't copy this, you know, buy the deck, use it. If you want a reading with this deck, then feel free to contact me. Contact me on the socials, message me on you know, either the socials, leave a comment, anything like that, and I will totally do a reading for you. So anywho, the contents are right here. We've got the preface right here. There's a lot to read there. So like I'm not gonna like actually there is, wow, that tells us a lot. Okay, I'm actually going to do it, so bear with me. It says, more than a divinatory system, Ogham, pronounced Ogham, O-am, O-M, right there. See? We've been pronouncing it incorrectly the entire time. Is an alphabet, a tally system, and the oldest version of the written Irish language. Much like the ways the English language has changed and adapted from medieval to modern-day English, the Irish language has changed course and adapted over the centuries in order to become what it is today. There is much to understand about Ogham. There is much to understand about Ogham beyond the system itself. Ogham is something which is filled with stories that blend the mythological with the and the historical. The tales of the kingdoms, the magic that was felt and used within them, the twists and turns of battles and celebration are all part of Ogham. All of them to this day have a bearing upon how and what Ogham is. This is like the basis of everything. Having spent numerous years teaching Ogham and reading professionally with it, I know firsthand the ways in which it not only enlightens but stimulates. And now when I say I, it's not me, it's Jane Matthews. So, you know, bear with me. Where was I? It is distinct from many other divination systems, and it will change the way you view the world as well as your place within it. On a personal level, again, not me, Jane, I found when deepening my own practices with Ogham that it's become a beacon which incorporated a much broader cause, the delicate balance between life and death, light and dark, and the neutrality encompassed by gaining awareness of self in ways that cannot possibly be imagined at first. Its concepts expand not only knowledge through its essences and meanings, but also upon the reverence for the land. I'm already just reading this little preface. It's telling you how much power is in these 25 cards. It is perfect for anyone who is looking to embark on any kind of spiritual journey while learning a system. Ogham provides a profound change in the ways of life, activities within life, and the spiritual connections that are experienced. These are integrated forever. Living in Ireland has brought the reality to the myths and legends to life. Both are interlinked. One does not exist without the other. This makes working with Ogham even more interesting, as the infusion from the past into this present day is still very much applicable. There are so many synchronicities with regard to Ogham, Ireland, and the folklore surrounding it, which made my Ogham journey even more interesting. I'm just going to finish there with the little preface there. You know, if you want to read it, if you want more of it, buy the deck. I really, really, really want to draw a card with this deck. I want to shuffle it. I want to get to know it. And I want to see what it shares, not just with me, but all of you that are watching this video, that are learning from me and saying, this girl cannot pronounce things to save her life, and she stutters like crazy. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to shuffle it like I do. It shouldn't take very long at all, because there's only 25 cards. We're used to doing this with 78, right? But as always, I want to thank my guides. I want to thank the powers that be for giving me this voice to share with myself and to share with all of you as well. Whatever card wants to connect with us now, whatever message wants to be shared. Thank you, 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 thank you for sharing your voice with all of us today. What do we need to know? It's this one. See how this one is just like, it's off by itself. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3 under it too, but this is the one that is calling to me. Oh, how cool. There it is. The one I said reminded me of fairies and ogres and trolls and everything. You know, the Irish magical world of the Celts. I love this. This is awesome. Now let's find Gort in the book, shall we? And learn that Gort is not how you pronounce it, perhaps. Let's see. You know, I could just, let's check right here. Table of contents, it'll tell us. We've got the first Acme right there, and Gortz is not one of those. The second is right there, and again, Gort is not there. This is the third. Gort is right there on page 43. Hooray for table of contents that tell us what page things are on, so we can just flip right through. How did I get from 43 to 88? I don't know. I made it look cool, and then I just screwed that up. Whoop. Okay, they're not in actual order. There's different things. That makes it less confusing. There we are. Its associated tree is ivy. The keyword development. Keyword is development. The letter is G. Yeah, there's a G right there. I wouldn't say that looks like a G, but now that I'm picturing a G, I still don't see it. But there is a line, you know, when you make it. There, I tried to make it. There's that line right there, right? And then the stroke bearing path to the underworld. Pronunciation is Gert. So I'm kind of close. I just made it Gort instead. Okay. And there's actually two R's. So Gert, I guess, makes sense. Gert has truly transformational energy to it. It is an energy that is carried out through the process of will change in order to develop to a higher level. It is dependent upon the person being able to visualize the improvements they wish to make within their life. Their improvements may include skills, qualities, and characteristics that they may want to improve and heighten. When this occurs, it allows the person to then be able to approach things in the correct way, bringing about this change and making it a successful one. Gert will bring fundamentally deep changes to a person, but again, this is all dependent upon the person having insight into themselves. The person must know who they truly are and have insight into both their strengths as well as their weaknesses. This will allow growth which is needed to occur correctly. And then there's different parts in here, you know, in relationships, in work, with regard to health. So there is a lot of information in this book that can help us read this. I'll read them to you now. In relationships, Gert can transform dynamics. It brings with it a deeper level of commitment or understanding. It requires the person to understand their good qualities as well as their not so good qualities, and from that be able to take steps to improve the ways in which they participate, contribute, or show up within that dynamic. It will facilitate better communication styles as well as more openness, and from that ultimately allow for growth within the relationship. This is all dependent upon the person's ability to visualize what they envision within the relationship and then put forth the effort into making it happen through their own sheer will and determination by creating changes on their part. In work, Gert is ideal when you have a desire to elevate your status within the workplace, when you know both your strengths and your weaknesses through the practice of self-honesty and insight. The ways in which you need to improve, get the elevation you desire will become clear, and you can begin the process of growth and improvement upon the aspects which currently need honing. With regard to health, Gert brings a true transformation in the ways health and well-being can be improved upon, changing unhealthy habits and breaking those cycles, as well as bringing a healthier way of looking at well-being in general, are all the things that can be utilized with this energy. It will facilitate a deeper understanding of what is needed, as well as the correct approach to take when a person is looking at making any changes to lifestyle in order to bring betterment. So this symbol, this Ogham card is showing that power we have to transform our lives. You know, face that darkness within. See in our mind's eye what we want to change and what we want to transform. We have that power to do it. Like, take this symbol and look how part of it is going up, what part of it is coming down. You know, rising up from the pain of the past, rising from that darkness, and bringing all of those ideas in our minds into reality, reminding us that we have the power to transform our lives. If we're feeling unhealthy, change that mindset. Do things to make ourselves feel healthier. If we want a better job for ourselves, if we want to learn this entire sequence and this entire form of divination, see ourselves doing just that, putting forth that effort, studying this book, studying, looking it up online, scan the cards with your phone or with the AI, and it's going to bring up a lot of information for that. There's always going to be information to find with the beauty of the internet alone. But the information that we seek, a lot of times we have to first find that information within. First find our power, find our strength, find our ability to face the good and the not so good aspects of ourselves. Gert, I'm picturing the little plant on Guardians of the Galaxy. For some reason, that word reminds me of that character. He was like this big macho thing, and then he became a little plant. If you watch that movie, you know what I'm talking about. I think Chris Pratt's in it, and then Vin Diesel played that character, and he just kept saying something very similar to that word. But yes, this such an empowering card to give us like that burst message from this deck. I just shuffled it. We just connected to it. And I hope this inspired you to start studying this or start, your own divination practice if you haven't already, and study and learn as much as you can, because this history, this first alphabet of the Irish language, it has so much to share with us in the modern day, and it's such a credible experience to be able to work with this, to be able to learn it, because I feel like that's what life is all about, learning everything we can while we are here. So anyway, this is Ogham. The guide to the cards is right here. Where is the box? Yes, the box is right here, and it's divining in the Celtic way, getting into that Celtic. Some people pronounce it Celtic. I will forever pronounce it Celtic, like Celtic cross. We all know the Celtic cross of the tarot, right? So that, kind of has that energy there. It connects to the tarot a little bit, and you can read with it, especially with the guidebook. So as always, I want to thank you for watching this video. I truly hope that you enjoyed this video and it inspires you to, think outside of your comfort zone, step outside of your comfort zone, and learn something new. If you want a reading with this deck or any of the decks in my collection, as I've said, comment on this video, message me on the socials, or book one directly on my website. All of that will be in the description below, as well as the information of where you can purchase this deck, and any other information that I feel like giving you in the, when I write that out. But again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again in the next one.